Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and this time we're going to look at a game called NATO Defense, created by Pacific Novelty Company in 1982. And this is very similar to their game called Thief, created in 1981, which I remember playing back in the day at Malibu Grand Prix. But this sequel is, it's not as good. The controls have to be tighter because there's a lot tighter of turns to have to go around, but it's very much the same. In this game, you have to run over these landmines to pick them up, and you have the ability to shoot your opponents, something you weren't able to do in Thief. You have a limited amount of missiles to shoot with your tank, and you just drive around the area trying to run over those landmines to pick them up. And here it explains the controls. You can, and the idea behind the game, you control this tank and you clear all the areas of mines to save the city. And there's a bunch of different cities. There's ammo dumps that you can pick up that are like in the place of the energizers. 1 equals 8 shots. Gives you 8 missiles, and 2 gives you 16 missiles, and you can have up to 16 at once. And you'll hear little tunes tell you whether you're low or empty of missiles. But that's basically it. The enemy tanks come after you, and if you shoot a bunch of them in a row together, then you can get a lot of points. You can get like 100, 500, 1,000, and then 2,000, something like that. But that's where the points in the game really come from, is shooting a bunch of the tanks together. And they reappear immediately elsewhere in the maze. And this tells you about the sounds and what they mean. I'm not a big fan of this game at all. It can be really, really, really hard. On the first level, the enemies start out really slow. Gradually, they become quick. And even on the first level, there's a lot of open spots where there's like no walls. And you have a whole bunch of mines to have to run over. It can be a real pain in the butt, so you'll want to clear that out first. But we'll get started in just a moment. The enemies can shoot at you, or they can run into you to kill you. And there the computer would have gotten shot. But you want to hopefully at least get 20,000. And there is running dialogue on a radio banter. Very silly. Of course, NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And they're trying to protect various countries from enemies.
500 yards. Fire. This is headquarters to battalion. Clear out that sector. Hey, that's not my job, HQ. This is 31.
That was nice.
Take evasive action. Hard left on roof leap. Brother, I've seen people shoot better with spray paint.
What the hell are you talking about? That was great.
What is this, a dance? Those Ruskies are kicking our tail. Joe! Hey, Joe! Who's that? Hey, Joe!
Really
Here!
cheesy.
Hey, get out of here, Tucky. You got the wrong... Oh, man. Men, this is General Stratton.
You can easily forget about like one particular mine that you needed to run over, and you gotta look all over the screen to find it sometimes. Those blue areas you can shoot, and you might be able to uncover some extra missiles that way, but there aren't going to be very many. And there I cleared the first level, and I saved London. There are I don't know how many cities, but there's certainly more than 30.
Hairball, your brain paralyzed? Oh, Fritz! Oh, Fritz! Where are you?
What the fuck?
What?
Really silly.
Such a Lieberman. Hey, whose side are you on anyway?
I think the dialogue is actually more entertaining or more interesting than the game. Oops, I ran into a tank.
You're that area.
But
Nice move, stone fingers.
the various cities
You now, American
include,
dog. Oh yeah?
let's see.
And what else?
There's London, Birmingham, Manchester, Hanover, Frankfurt, Munich, Stockholm, New York, LA, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, San Francisco, Portland, which is my hometown.
Nice going, Pilgrim.
Or maybe they're talking about Portland, Maine, but I would imagine it's Portland, Oregon.
This area is under heavy
Trenton, Marina del Rey, Glasgow, Rotterdam, Wiesbaden, Antwerp, Brussels, Cologne, Berlin, Copenhagen, Oslo, Helsinki, Madrid, Barcelona, Lisbon, Innsbruck, Zurich. There's probably more, a lot more. Those are the only ones I know of.
What are you doing? Playing with your eyes closed?
And the dialogue repeats after a while. There's graphical glitches on this game.
Oh, soldier, where are you?
What the hell?
Brother,
Weird.
he'll do. You're disgusting. Moi? Get serious.
What the hell? But there is there's graphical glitches on this game where sometimes the maze is like in spots the wrong color or has the wrong icon or something.
Well, that's a relief.
Yeah, they just
Not in
not
this
a
tank, you
particularly good game.
Now cut that out. We've got to secure Sector 2 immediately.
Don't
Everyone load up with more
don't spare the ammo if you have like a bunch of enemies together. Get the points for killing a bunch of them in a row.
This is Tank 13.
Yeah, I note that they speed up quite a bit after a short while.
Take evasive action 3. Pull down row cravens. Roger. Lift engine cover. Roger. What do you see? Oh no! What is it? It's a Criper. Orders to all battalions.
Goofy dialogue.
Invading all sectors.
It's definitely better than, or the best thing about the game, I think. I don't think the game itself is very good. You definitely need a good joystick for this game. Just like a keyboard or joypad controls aren't quite going to cut it. And I had to deal with joypad controls. Oops. You get an extra life every 10,000.
Hard to right, the bearing, a mark, 2,000 yards, a fire,
Really bad Italian stereotype voice.
Tank 15, over here. We need help, over here. Who is this? We're over here. I bet you are. Who's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
What?
Restaurant in Warsaw? Fire!
What the
This is
hell?
battalion headquarters. Fierce fighting
Weird.
all front. Reinforcements are on the way. Keep fighting, men. And the base.
I had a hard time with this game because of the control problems. Yeah, there's definitely an opportunity to get a lot of points. You don't want to waste it.
Okay. Keep up the good work. This is
I didn't really bother with trying to get more of those missiles by shooting the walls, the blue walls. I wouldn't recommend bothering with it. As long as you're judicious with your shots and making sure you just shoot clusters of enemies to get a lot of points, then I wouldn't worry too terribly much about how many missiles I have. And only otherwise use missiles when you're in a tight spot. Oops, I got shot. Well, I got the high score. I got more than 20,000 points. And you get a very epileptic seizure-giving congratulatory message. Now I get to insert my initials by pushing up and down I get to choose which letter I want, and then I think you press left or right to apply it, and then move on to the next letter. But that was NATO Defense by Pacific Novelty in 1982. It's very similar to an earlier game they did called Thief, which I think was a better game. War is heck is a message you get at the end of a game. But that was NATO Defense by Pacific Novelty Manufacturing in 1982. This is Crazy Climber 80 saying thanks for watching NATO Defense by Pacific Novelty in 1982. I will catch you later in the future with another game. See you then, folks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.